So another episode of Backstroke and Boobs.
Yay, I'm glad to be back chatting with you.
In a new studio.
Sarah, I know something that's going on with your body right now.
You do?
Yes, I do. I know that you do not have your period right now.
I don't actually. How do you know that?
Well, I think it was probably about 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that our friendship had finally hit like bestie levels when we were out running and we had both just gotten our period that day.
Oh,
we had synced.
We're synced. Okay, so tell me your very worst period stories during training or racing.
And so one time I put a tampon into my sneaker because I thought that perhaps I might get my period on the bike, and so I wanted to be prepared.
In a race,
a race, yeah.
T2.
Yeah, T2, Los Cabos.
Tampon, Los Cabos.
Yeah.
It's hot.
So for some reason I thought it would be...
Oh, I remember. I was there with you.
Okay,
and you were worried about getting your period and feeling like crap.
And so I put I don't know why I thought this would be a great idea, but I put it into the shoe. And so anyways, I didn't get my period, totally forgot the tampon was there, put my shoes on, started running, and couldn't figure out what was in my shoe, like, the whole time.
Okay, so here's what I want to know about that situation.
Yeah.
When you then poured water on your head, you know the water, your shoes end up soaked. Did the tampon like blow up in your shoe, or like what did you do?
Well, the good and bad thing is I didn't make it that far. I like passed out, ended up in the merge tent at like
you were like down for the count.
And actually, I don't really remember
that,
but they were the ones who probably had to take my shoes off.
They were like,
what the hell was this?
You probably just passed out from the pain of your foot being like bent under.
Yeah, exactly. So I have that. I've had some where I've raced, like I have had my period and I had a tampon in and I started running and you can kind of feel it like it's half in, half out.
Oh, that's the worst.
And
the half in,
it's
half
so
out.
uncomfortable. I'm worried about like chafing and expansion at the bottom.
Oh, I know. And okay, someone told me a story the other day about she was in a race and she was riding her bike and you like kind of relaxed to pee on the bike. Well, she relaxed. She peed and her tampon went flying out.
Well, mine was almost, so then I'm stuck with the dilemma. What I actually did is wait until I got out on the course and I reached in and I just pulled it out and threw it in the bush, which I could have got a penalty for littering on course, I realized.
Okay, so on a more serious note, what can we do? You have that, for me, I have a super crappy time starting about 2 days before my period and the first day of my period where I can't really perform. What can we do about that?
Well, no, and it's a great question because I don't think that there's enough research going into this area. You look at all the way that we're all like working towards getting like that much better and and all these like sweating tests and all this type of stuff. But I mean, here's a huge issue that's affecting 50% of the people doing triathlon. Yeah. We don't talk about it enough.
Or 19% of the people doing Ironman.
Right.
But 50% of the population.
Exactly. Well, okay, there you go. And maybe there's people who are actually not racing that would because of this issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and we do know, I mean, obviously we know the basics, right? You've got estrogen and progesterone and the way that it can kind of affect you. And you sort of want to race when your estrogen's high and your progesterone's low. And right before your period is when it is the lowest. So, is when your progesterone is the highest. So that week leading into your period for most people is not a very comfortable time to race. And also you're not that successful, especially like with hot weather racing, because your electrolyte balance can be thrown out and you have to sort of know how to compensate for that. And also your heart rate's a lot higher, so just resting heart rate, so that's going to affect things too.
I used to call it luteal phase racing.
There you go.
When you race after you ovulate.
Yes.
For luteal phase racing, I really think we should bring this into like common parlance.
Okay, it should just be like
we should know that all women have they're good days, they're really good days that happen outside of luteal phase racing.
Right.
And then the good days considering it's luteal phase racing.
Yes, the two different categories.
Right?
Yeah. So if people ask you how you did, and you can be like, well, considering it was luteal phase racing,
I
kind of kicked ass.
Right.